Hey, this is EJ. Today's been a weird day, just with presidents talking about how they're not going to, or asking with question marks whether or not they should delay the presidential election, and lots of fears, man. Lots of fears. It's been a crazy year, 2020. It's been, uh, you know, the exact opposite of the America that I dreamed about living in and serving whenever I was growing up. And so it's very easy for during these times to get really stressed, really confused, really even with basic things such as whether or not one should wear a mask or we've gotten so divisive that it's very difficult to trust information, and even more so to be joyful and have a positive mental outlook, and to be um, of sound mind during these times. And so it's your fundamental foundation, to be of sound mind. Um, and so I'm sharing these things and these things that are on my heart right now because um, 2020 has been a very difficult year for me personally, for many different reasons. But it's par for the course in many different ways, as far as dealing with negative stimuli, right? Like as far as just having just crushing weight of, uh, you know, overwhelming toxicity. Um, how do you respond to that? How do you deal with that? Um, so, one of the things that I have found very helpful for me personally is therapy. And one of the things that going through therapy and helping, speaking to a professional about very complex, nuanced issues dealing with generational trauma and, uh, addictions and abuse and different things that people go through, and myself included, among them. How do you handle that? What are the best ways to handle that? What are the best ways to what are the tools in my toolkit whenever I feel these things as a result of going through these negative experiences, and I feel these fears, and I see this irrational stimulus, and I can't understand why friends that I've known my whole life seem to have lost their minds and totally given up and abdicated all responsibility for critical and creative thought to um, a demagogue. And so, what do I do with that energy, right? So, in this context, I've been challenged to do 22 push ups a day, to remember veterans and fallen veterans. And I believe that it is specifically those mental struggles that we all have, and the very toxic way that we're taught to deal with those, in our culture and society as a whole, um, are not, are one of the things that whenever I feel these feelings, and whenever I'm going through these thoughts, and whenever I'm feeling this such anger, what do I do with that emotion? What do I do? Um, and so, you know, um, today I was just talking about therapy. And for a lot of veterans, in particular, going to a therapist is probably one of the worst things you could talk about. And even for a professional, anyone that deals with, working in the government these days, going to a therapist and admitting that you go to a therapist and seeking professional help, um, you know, it's something that it causes pause because there's this stigma, even among people in the government, um, that going after such things and seeking such help is, oh, I'll lose my security clearance. And so the very damaging, the very caustic environment that we see right now is so many people are hurting. So many people don't have tools to even have basic dialogue and be vulnerable and learn how to hear each other and learn how to listen and respect each other. Or even learn how to love on a very fundamental level, accepting people for who they are and not for who we want them to be. Uh, and that starts with yourself. That starts with loving yourself, and that starts with accepting yourself, and that starts with wanting to know how loved you really are. And so, one of the biggest benefits of going to therapy that I received was seeing how there were fundamentally caustic thought processes that I had and still have, right? That I have learned how to ignore, how to. I still feel them, I still see them, I still see them coming up or whatnot, but I've learned to ignore them. I've learned to quote unquote turn it off and not listen to that channel, right? And there's a whole bunch of practical techniques and tools that I've gleaned from these conversations from a certified, experienced, knowledgeable, scientifically trained professional that understands the human psyche and psychology as a whole, as a discipline, and has applied those basic loving skills to me to be able to help me be the man that I am. And so I encourage you, whoever's listening to this, if you're dealing with trauma, if you're dealing with generational pain and struggles and heartaches, and if you've been through abuse, if you've been through some traumatic stuff, get help. Talk to people. Don't keep it in, man. And it's even better. The best is actually fork it over that $140 an hour. It's worth the investment. It's your mind that you're learning how to deal with and communicate with, and through that self-dialogue, you're then able to grow and interact with the world in a way that's positive, and that causticity that's inside of you, you're able to deal with and heal it in a positive way, in a way that hopefully brings love and light and awesome. So I encourage you, veterans, especially, I was on a boat with you guys for 2.5 years underwater. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to be an enlisted sailor, right? I know how caustic it gets. And I know that to even talk about and be vulnerable with things is tantamount to social suicide. And so I encourage you to get the help you need. Get help you need to be your best. So with that said, we're going to do the 22 push-ups. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Probably need to do another take of this, but I don't know. Otherwise, I'll never get it done if I just edit and overthink this stuff. But yeah, here we go. 22 push-ups a day. And see how that goes. It's not a bad angle. All right, man. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. 22 push-ups. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah. Thanks very much for listening.